Oh, there's a topic worthy of further discussion this week. It's the one that everyone at the All-Star game is talking about. It is whether Shohei Ohtani will be traded. As I said on Fox on Saturday, this is something that non-Angels fans want to see happen, the fans of 29 other teams. But it's not something that at this moment I envision happening. In fact, it would be a major upset if it happened, and we'll get into that. But let's first explore the idea of Ohtani getting traded and what he could mean for different teams. And I want to show you just how some rotations would look if Ohtani was a part of these teams' rotations. Let's start with the Yankees and Dodgers. The Yankees, Ohtani, Cole, and Rodon. That's your top three. The Dodgers, Ohtani, Kershaw, and Urias. Not a bad top three either. Now remember, I'm talking at this moment just about the pitching aspect. Not even talking about Ohtani as a hitter. Of course, he would help those teams. Let's look at two other teams as well. Two in the National League East. Just for fun, folks. We're just having a little fun here. The Phillies with Ohtani. Ohtani, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler. The Braves with Ohtani. This one's really fun. Ohtani, Max Fried, and Spencer Strider. These are just top threes. Now, I'm just talking about certain teams here, but think of your favorite team that's a contender and what Ohtani would mean to their rotation if he was traded. How about the Orioles? How about some of these surprise teams? The Orioles, the Marlins, the Diamondbacks with Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, the Reds. He would look great anywhere. And again, I'm just talking about the pitching aspect, not the offensive aspect. Of course, he'd look great in any lineup as well. All right, so much for our fantasies. Let's get back to reality. The reality is that your opinion about Ohtani being traded and whether you want him to be traded doesn't matter. My opinion about Ohtani wanting to be traded or needing to be traded, it doesn't matter either. The opinions of the 29 other clubs, they don't matter, and I would dare say, I'm not even sure the opinion of Angels general manager Perry Minasian matters. The only opinion that matters here is the one belonging to Artie Moreno. He is the owner of the team. He has expressed a great reluctance to trade Ohtani, particularly when the Angels are in playoff contention. Now, you can question at this moment whether the Angels actually are in playoff contention. They've lost 9 of 10. Their playoff odds are down to about 10%. They've got injuries everywhere, Trout being, of course, foremost among them. They're 5 out in the wild card, but they've got the Yankees, Red Sox, and Mariners ahead of them, even before you get to the teams currently holding the wild card positions. You can certainly make the case that they're going nowhere. Now, they've got a 9-game homestand coming out of the break against the Astros, the Yankees, and the Pirates. Clearly, the Angels need to play better if they're going to consider themselves in any way, shape, or form a contender. I don't know that they'll ever be a contender this season, but Artie Moreno is going to hold on to this. Because if there's any chance of making the playoffs, and remember, Trout is coming back at some point. It's 4 to 8 weeks, anywhere in that range. If they can make the playoffs, well, then the sliver of hope, and it is a sliver, that is all it is, for the Angels to re-sign Ohtani would expand a little bit. I don't see it happening, but if you're Artie Moreno, you don't want to trade this guy. You don't want to trade the best player, arguably, of all time. You don't want that as your responsibility. You don't want to be known as the owner who did that. I understand all that. I get it. But at the same time, let's look at what the Angels could get if they traded Ohtani. And this is the part where Moreno might be missing it a little bit. He certainly was missing it last year. I've said this before. We've all said it. That's when they should have traded Ohtani. They could have gotten the Juan Soto deal plus. How about that? That would have been pretty good for the Angels going forward. But at that time, I'm sure he's thinking, maybe I can keep him. Who knows? If you trade Ohtani, you get some kind of bounty. I don't know what it is. I don't know exactly what it would bring. Yes, he's a rental, but he's also a pitcher and a hitter. He's 2 players in one. So it would be a pretty good package. The Dodgers, I could imagine, would love to get their hands on him and then have him for a couple of months before he becomes a free agent. And perfect scenario for them. All these other teams would pay big for Ohtani as well in a trade. If the Angels let him walk and they make him the qualifying offer and he rejects it, all they get is a draft pick between 75 and 80, in that range. That's not very good, and they will regret that. But in the meantime, Moreno will retain his sliver of hope for the postseason. He'll continue making money with Ohtani, sponsorships, merchandise, ticket sales, all of that. And he will not be giving up on his season and basically giving his fans nothing to watch from the deadline on out. I understand all that. That's where it is. The interesting thing is, if they collapse even further in the next 2 weeks, does Moreno at least consider it? And there's one other thing I want to mention here, and it's something no one is talking about, but probably we should be thinking about. Ohtani has a very specific routine. He has to prepare every day as a starting pitcher, and there is a routine every day a starting pitcher follows, and he also has to prepare as a hitter because he's in the lineup most every day. The Angels have helped him establish that routine over the years. He has grown comfortable there with how it has all gone about. I'm not so sure he would be so comfortable being traded to another team that would not know what he does, that would not be familiar with it. And it's pretty elaborate what this guy goes through on a daily basis. Now, granted, it's not rocket science. Any team could adapt. They could listen to Ohtani and figure it out right away. But my question is, and we don't know the answer to this, is how comfortable would Ohtani be if he were traded? And has he expressed to Moreno any concern about that aspect of his situation? If you join a team as a free agent, which he will do this offseason, that's a different scenario. You have the entire spring with your new club to establish your routines, to get in sync, to get everyone on the same page. Middle of the season, it's a little different. Again, I don't know the answer to this question. Perhaps he will be asked it at All-Star Media Day, which is taking place later Monday after we tape. But that is a question I have. So, as of now, no Ohtani trade, but we can speculate. We can fantasize. We can do whatever the heck we want. And we can also hope that Artie Moreno comes to his senses and does what is best for his franchise and not what is best for the next 2 months.